Hi, I'm Graham from Castle Cameras, and I'm here today with the one and only Mr. Greg Fertel, bacon expert, sometime professional photographer, and mega Sony fanboy.
Yeah, I'm Greg from TV Photography. Nice to see you, Graham.
Indeed, yeah, it's always a pleasure to have you here, Greg.
I've been excited to do this test for a while now.
So, yeah, the point of the video today, we're going to actually test the new MC-11 adapter with a big variety of full-frame Canon lenses. We'll also try a few of the cropped lenses as well. So, by using the Canon EF lenses with the Sigma MC-11 adapter, it really opens up the possibilities when you're using something like an A7. Obviously, Sony, they've got it's fair to say it's a limited lens range, and it's quite an expensive lens range as well. There's a lot of people out there that were Canon users that want to move into the full frame mirrorless market. They want to pick up a Sony, but they've got a lot of glass that they've invested in. You know, they want to keep. So something like this, like you say, previously people use it with Metabones, and it works, but it's not great.
Well,
but
obviously, Canon makes some great glass for full frame.
Canon makes some amazing glass, yeah, absolutely. So the big hope here is that the MC-11 really will hit the market. Will allow native-like performance, and really.
Well, it's effectively opening up the market even more, so that
absolutely,
you have a wider range of lenses.
Indeed, and it can only be beneficial to Sony, Canon, and Sigma. You know, it's going to increase sales for all of those all of those people.
You know,
so.
I think the money is really in the lenses these days, isn't it? Like,
sure.
The bodies, people joke that with the Sony bodies, a new one comes out
every week. So,
you don't want to be buying a new camera every week. I mean, it's obviously
that's it.
Nice,
the glass is important. So we've got about 20 different full frame lenses and 4 crop lenses to test. So without further delay, let's get stuck in.
I'm looking forward to it. Welcome back.
Yeah. So after that mega test, which seemed to go on for forever,
I even had to jump out and move my car so I didn't get a ticket.
But I think it's fair to say what we've done here today is probably the most comprehensive test on the internet of the MC-11. If we just run through the list and we can talk about some of the lenses that really works really well and some of the lenses that didn't work perhaps so well. So first of all, I've got to say, I mean, the Canon 35 1.4 was fantastic, wasn't it?
Yeah, that went really well. The focus was really fast. And I think the pictures looked pretty sharp.
They did, and it was native AF performance. Really, it was like you were using a 5D3 with a lens on, with the 35mm lens on. So, very impressive. Next, we tried the 2470 f4, and I've put here that it was kind of okay. So we saw a bit of hunting, not quite so quick.
I think it obviously becomes difficult when you're inside and via an adapter. Then I think and we said it several times in the test. I think that as soon as you go for lenses that aren't supported. Then you're kind of on your own a bit, and that's part of the reason why we did the test is that people do have all these lenses out there. So the more information they can get, then the better decision they can make.
Absolutely.
So they can obviously, it's a great lens on a Canon body. So the upshot from that would be probably for some of these lenses then. They're going to work best on a Canon body, which is ultimately what they're designed for.
Absolutely,
But what we're trying here is...
and obviously everyone's got to bear in mind as well, the Sigma MC-11 was only ever designed to work with Sigma lenses. So
Sigma art lenses.
Sigma art lenses. So the fact that it's hammering away working on these Canon lenses is great news, 2470 f4 was kind of mediocre, 70 to 300L, again, bit mediocre, 100 to 400 Mark 2L, a bit hunting. It was all right. It was
typically like the longer end of them. Struggled a little bit more.
But then we tried the 16 to 35 Mark 2L.
That was really good, wasn't it?
It was really good. It was very fast, very accurate, no hunting.
And that's a big gap in the Sony lineup at the moment. There's they have announced the G Master lenses, and I think you were saying the 2470 2.8's just come in stock recently.
Yeah, we got them in stock.
But the 7200 2.8.
It's going to be a way down the line.
And there's no 16 to 35 2.8. There's no sort of current Nikon adapters, so that rules out those lenses. So
so
this is kind of one of your only options, isn't it?
Absolutely, and it's good to know that because it is one of the only options that it works so well. So it's really a bonus. The next up, we tried the 24-105 f4. Again, this is a massively popular
really
lens.
Popular.
There's loads of them
having
about.
it when I shot Canon.
I mean, it came bundled with a lot of the full frame Canon cameras, and we're pleased to say it worked flawlessly. It was fantastic. So it really is a good lens to get hold of, and obviously you can pick them up second hand pretty cheap. So
a lot of people want to upgrade to the 2.8 Mark II or something like that, and
as a all round lens to cover a nice range of focal lengths.
Great lens for events.
Yeah, perfect lens for events.
Great lens for studios as well.
Yeah. Now, next up, I mean, this is quite unfortunate because I know obviously a lot of people enjoy their macro photography. A lot of people are going to have the 100L. Fantastic lens on really, Canon. Yeah. When we tried it on the adapter though.
It's a bit of a disco, wasn't it?
It was a disco
party.
It was completely useless. It just jumping back and forward. It couldn't focus on anything. No matter what we tried, it just would not work. So we can say that the 100L is not supported whatsoever.
Fact, we'll get onto it later, won't we? But one of the Sigma macro lenses we tried was much better.
Absolutely, there was a much better option there. Again, another legendary Canon lens that obviously Greg himself has actually had a lot of people asking him if it works or not. The 85mm 1.2L. Now, obviously, it's a legendary portrait lens. People get very excited about the 1.2 aperture.
I think it's the one lens that when people are thinking about moving to another brand or something like that, is the one lens they kind of wish that other manufacturers made something like it.
So obviously a lot of people were hoping that this lens is going to work with the adapter. Was sorry to say it was a complete disaster.
No, it sort of moved the focus a bit, but that was it, wasn't it?
It wasn't even discoing. I think it did one initial focus push, didn't focus on anything, and then just froze. So
of course that lens is sort of a bit like the Sony's in that it's a sort of electronic fly-by-wire focus.
Completely,
so maybe that was something to do with it.
Yeah, exactly. It's very probably a complicated piece of electronic. So it didn't work at all. 2470 f2 0.8 Mark II.
Yeah, I mean, the focus was really good, wasn't it?
Yeah,
but it did suffer from sort of locking the camera up a few times.
Yeah, and there was a bit of hunting there as well. So again, it's a bit of a trend we've noticed. The newer lenses don't seem to work so well as the older lenses. So, I mean, obviously we saw that next when we went to the 17 to 40.
Yeah, and that's a really popular lens for landscape pieces.
Hugely popular lens. Yeah,
I mean, in fact, when I first was shooting Canon, I did some tests with the 17 to 40 and the original 16 to 35, and the 17 to 40 was far superior to the 16 to 35.
Yeah, and it's like I say, it's
lightweight.
It's lightweight. It's cost
effective.
It's an inexpensive L series lens, and throughout my professional photography career, I used one myself extensively as well, and I was very happy with it. So that worked really well. So definitely a lens to consider. Next up, we chucked on again another legendary lens, very popular lens, the 70 to 200 f2a IS Mark II L series lens.
It's a beast of a lens.
It's a beast of a lens. It's a mouthful to say as well, and but that worked really well.
The speed was quick, wasn't it?
Speed was quick. I mean, it wasn't flawless. I mean, you couldn't say that it was like a native lens, but it was good. It was quick enough.
It was quick enough for sort of anything but sprinters, maybe.
It wasn't bad. Was
be fine for sports days and things like that.
Then next up, we tried again a very popular lens. We know many of you will have the 51.4, and again that worked reasonably well.
It was a little bit of hunting, but nothing too much.
And then moving on from there, we tried the 135 f2, which is obviously an awesome portrait lens, and
that worked really.
It worked really well again. So again, it's these older lenses which do seem to be working the best. Then we tried a non-L series 70 to 300, which we know is a relatively inexpensive 70 to 300 lens that a few of you will probably have, and that worked all right. It was okay.
It was all right. You've got to remember some of these lenses aren't the fastest focusing in the first place, are they? So within that expectations, it was pretty decent, wasn't it?
It was pretty decent. So moving on from there, we decided to try a few third-party lenses with the adapter as well. So sticking with the 70 to 300 theme, we tried a Sigma 70 to 300.
Although I'm not sure if we can call them third party if it's a Sigma one?
Oh, yeah.
Like, it starts getting a bit confusing.
It does get a bit confusing. Non-Canon, then, I should say. But yeah. So we tried a Sigma 70-300 and a Tamron 70-300. Both, again, really inexpensive 70-300 lenses.
These are the typical ones that if people are buying maybe an entry-level Canon, isn't it? They'd be like, I want a telezoom, but I don't want to stretch to the sort of more expensive Canon
exactly
lens,
I mean
but I'll buy like I want something that's got the reach, but it's a bit more friendly on the pocket.
I mean both of these lenses new are sort of not far north of £100, £120, and certainly used. We've got plenty of used examples of these lenses, and you can get them for 50, 60, 70 quid.
And I love that sort of lens. Like, if you're going on a holiday or a walk with the family or something, you can chuck it in the bag, and you're not, stuff like 7200s are great, for when using it professionally. But
you don't want to walk around.
You don't want to carry that around, do you?
Like, and these all worked really well. And in fact, I think out of the three, the Tamron was actually the best. The Tamron was pretty quick, wasn't it? Quite zippy. It really was on it.
I was impressed how well the Sigma and the Tamron 7300 sort of 4 to 5.6. Zooms did,
given the light level as well.
Because they're never designed to be the fastest focusing lens. They're designed to be sort of a good lens to carry around, isn't it?
So moving on from there, we decided to try another macro lens because obviously we were a bit disappointed with the 100L. So we chucked on the Sigma 70 macro, which Greg as mentioned was a widely used macro lens. Which
it's one of the lenses that a lot of people use for testing because it's available in multiple mounts. So it really lets people sort of find how improved sharpness is in cameras, and I think I see a lot of people rate it as a great macro lens.
And it was faultless. It was really faultless. Good, it zipped along, didn't it? The autofocus, and the quality of the images looked amazing. And so I think if you want a macro lens and you don't want to fork out full price for a Sony one, the Sigma 70 is definitely the one to go for, along with the adapter.
Because I think that the thing a lot of people they like the idea of macro, but unless you're going to take thousands of macro pictures, then
it's a bit of an
The
investment.
Sigma 70mm is a great way to because I think you were saying it was
$299.
$299 for a really high quality macro lens. Like, and obviously we were saying the other thing is you get the benefit then of if you're buying it from a proper stockist like you guys at Castle Cameras, you're getting all the warranty and the backup and the support, so you don't have to worry about sending it off to some dodgy guy in some cupboard in a foreign country to fix it for you.
Exactly. You're going to get that warranty and that support. Moving on from there, we tried the Tamron 15-30 2.8 VC lens, which again has had a lot of rave reviews lately. That's a beast of a lens.
That was a beast of a lens.
Big,
I
heavy
was a little
lens.
bit worried about it pulling the front of the camera off, to be honest.
And that worked reasonably well. There was a few little issues with hunting, but it was not bad at all. Sticking with the VC, but then we chucked on a 70-200 2.8 VC Tamron lens, and that was sensational. It was quick.
It was quick. I'd say that was quicker than the Canon.
That was really quick, and it locked on well. Amazing, really. Great option for 70-200, and like you say, quicker than the Canon. And then obviously to test the Tamron against the Sigma as well, we tried the Sigma 70-200 2.8 EXOS. And again, that was really quick.
So it was really good.
And that comes in a couple of £100 cheaper than the Tamron. So
the thing that I liked about the Sigma was that, traditionally a 70-200 2.8 is massive, and the Sigma sort of somehow managed to sort of shrink it down to like not quite an f4 size, but it's going that way. So,
definitely.
When you're carrying something all day, you really appreciate every little bit of weight saving you can.
That's it. Absolutely. So, moving on from the full frame range, and with the A7, we decided to give the adapter a run on an Alpha 6 300, which is a camera that you've been using quite extensively, Greg, isn't it?
I have to say, the more I use the 6300, the more impressed with it I am. Obviously, a lot of people still like that full frame look and the rendering you get from all that sort of stuff. But as soon as you're at anything other than 1.4, then it doesn't matter whether you're on full frame or a smaller sensor.
It's only really the bokeh tarts that
ultimately, a lot of stuff you shoot, if you shoot it at 2.8, for example, then you can shoot at f2, with Sigmas like 18 to 35 and 50 to 100. You can shoot at equivalent sort of depth of field on a DX sensor. So
sure.
Unless you constantly shoot everything at 1.4, then it's almost like a moot point. And you can only shoot so much at 1.4.
Absolutely.
Without nothing being in focus.
Well, since this was a little bonus rather than the main A7 test, we've only done 4 lenses in this group. But
I think like that reflects a little bit of there is more lenses that are available that are aimed at full frame. Obviously, you can mount. They'll all work.
They'll all work on
there.
Yeah.
But in terms of the ranges, like your 2470, 7200s, they're all kind of full frame focal length. So you can put them on a smaller body, but 2470 isn't a very useful
on a
range
crop,
on a crop body
sensor. So
so in terms of if you just look at the market, a lot of the lenses for smaller sensors, there's a much narrower selection. And I think I was saying this to you in terms of if you look at, say, Canon's lineup for wide angles, they've got two 16 to 35s, the f4 and the 2.8 versions. They've got the 17 to 40. I think that's still current.
Yep.
So they've got sort of 4 different lenses there. And then if you look at the mid-range zooms, you've got the 2470 2.8 and the f4. You've got the 24-105. So you've got a lot of choice there. Whereas if you look at the DX side, certainly on the Sony, you've got the kind of the 16 to 70s, kind of their only option. Then you've got I think it's an 11 to 18 on the wide angle f4, and they're your only options.
Yeah.
From in the same sort of space. So I think naturally there's gonna be less options for us to look at. But equally, I think the ones we looked at are ones that a lot of people will be interested in.
Definitely. I mean, we looked at some nice lenses. So again, a lens that has been mentioned to you. There was the Sigma 17 to 70 mm f2.8 to f4 DC contemporary lens. So that was the first one we tried, and the performance was fair. I think I would say it was all right.
And I think one of the things we have to say is that this is one of the supported lenses. And it's something that I'm seeing, on some of the other art lenses and other supported lenses, that it's not the fastest to lock on.
No.
But it is reliable.
It's consistent. Yeah.
And you do get the eye focus and the face detection. And the other thing to bear in mind, of course, is that this thing's been out a week.
Exactly.
The fact that it works at all is
incredible.
Amazing.
So I mean that was pretty good, wasn't it?
If we look at some of the full frame lenses where we saw good autofocus performance, but a few sort of locking up issues when taking photos.
Well, I mean, you say that, and this is exactly what happened. The 17 to 70 was slightly slower, perhaps, but it was reliable. But then we tried the Sigma 17 to 50 f2.8 EX DC, which is like an older, similar lens but older design and not supported. The AF was much faster.
Yeah, it was noticeably zippier, wasn't it?
But it locked up pretty much every time you took a shot. So it was, nowhere near as reliable. So I think, like you say, it's a bit of a trade-off. You lose a bit of AF performance, but you do gain that reliability.
And I guess the way Sigma have explained the MC-11 is that when you're using the MC-11, then the body the camera thinks it's got an E-mount lens on there. So it's obviously having to do some translation between, it kind of uses the firmware in the mount rather than the firmware in the lens. So there's some kind of communication delay ultimately, I guess, there. Whereas when it's using a non-supported lens, then I think what's happening is it's just using the native phase detection autofocus. So from that point of view, then it's obviously going to be quick because it's just using phase detection. It's not doing any translation or anything.
That's right,
like that.
but
because it's more prone to crashing basically.
So moving on from there, we decided to do something a bit crazy. Good for the video shooters, like Greg said. We went for the fisheye, the 8 to 16 mm Sigma f4.556.
That's that's crazy wide.
It's crazy wide.
I thought our feet were going to be in the picture at one point.
But that worked really well, didn't it? It was zippy, quick. But I mean, it just worked well. But I mean, the actual practical use of that lens, I'm not really sure how. But
I think, like I said when we were using it, if I have to use a camera sort of unmanned somewhere, then I typically have it on a really wide angle.
So it covers.
So it's great,
as much
great
as
for
possible.
me for something like that. But again, unfortunately, we saw some of the sort of teething troubles where it would lock up after some shots.
Yeah, that's right.
Again, I whether Sigma decide to update the firmware because it's not a lens that's officially supported.
Mm-hmm.
But for video, then obviously you've still got, because you're not taking the pictures, then you've still got all the functionality there. So, all the lenses we've mentioned, that did have any lockup issues, that's only for still. So as soon as we're talking video,
it's irrelevant. Yeah.
Then it's irrelevant. You've still got all the fully electronic control. And I think we talked about the amazing build quality on the MC-11.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
it's.
So like I say,
really is good.
If you're working as a videographer, shooting, on your body, you're using something like an Atomos external recorder, you're not going to have an issue with this at all. No. So to round up the test, we decided to try something a bit sexy. The new Sigma 50 to 100 f1.8, which again should be a supported lens for the MC-11.
Yeah, we saw the little green light that comes on.
And obviously, in line with what we've seen previously.
Yeah. In fact, we're filming with it right now.
This is this lens now, the 50 to 100 1.8, and we found that the AF again slightly on the slow side, but it was consistent, it was reliable, and it didn't knock the camera up at all, did it?
And in fact, when I was just setting up this shot here, it was detecting your face, and I was focusing on your eye, so that was really showing the benefit of the adapter with the supported lens.
So you get that full Sony functionality.
And I think in some of the videos we went into the menu and you could see that all the AF options were available.
Rather than just the basic AF
lenses,
options.
We'd just get the single shot mode.
So in conclusion then, we sort of proved that, out of the 24 lenses we tested, there was actually only 2 lenses which refused to work altogether, which I think is incredible, given that adapter was only really designed to work with those Sigma lenses. So, out of 24 lenses, only 2 refused to work completely. Yeah. The rest that weren't so great, you can work around it. It's issues you can work around. I mean, obviously, if you're going to go to an event or you're doing a wedding or you need reliability, it's probably not the best idea to use.
I guess like if you're being paid to shoot something, then the lenses that aren't supported, if they're locking up too frequently, then obviously that won't be an option to use.
That's it. But if you're a still life photographer or a landscape photographer, or even if you're like in a portrait controlled situation in a studio, you can work around it.
And like we said, we didn't really try changing too many settings to see if we could find one that would make it more robust in any way.
And again, this is a very new piece of technology, and I'm sure that given time, Sigma are going to do firmware updates for this thing, and it's only going to make things better as time goes on. I hope you've enjoyed this test.
It's been fun. I've enjoyed it.
We certainly had a great time. It's been great just trying to test out all these things. And obviously, when these new products like this come out on the internet, there's a lot of chatter. Greg is always in the various Facebook forums and groups and stuff like that. People are always asking Greg questions, and hopefully this video has gone some way to answer some of those questions for you.
Well, I think people like to see how it works as opposed to not just guess or read what somebody said about it in a forum or something.
Exactly.
If you can actually see how it works, then that's kind of seeing is believing, I see.
Absolutely. Well, everything we've tested today, so including the A7, the 6300, the MC-11 adapter, and all the lenses, they're all available here at Castle Cameras. If you've got any questions at all, don't hesitate to hit the comment box below. Ask your question. Greg or myself will definitely follow up. Subscribe to our channel at Castle Cameras, and also subscribe to Greg's channel.
I'm TP Photography.
So thank you for watching. You've done very well to get to this point. We know it's a long video,
this is our longest video ever.
But thank you very much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye, guys.